Hello everyone and welcome to today's Starseed Healing Circle. So in today's session we are working with a Kinesiopractic session. I have doused all of our corrections and we're just going to dive in and get it going. So let's start with our tuning. We're tuning in with Crystalline Codes today. So close your eyes, take a few deep breaths in and out. And just focus on what it is that you would like to work with in today's session. What would you like to receive? What would you like to let go of? What would you like to manifest in your life? Just find a clear goal for today's session. If you can get your goal as short as possible, summarize it into just a few words. That'll be amazing. Because one of our corrections is going to be a very long sentence. So I really encourage you to summarize your goal into a very, very, very short sentence. So just find a moment to discover what it is that you want to focus on. Perhaps open your eyes, allow your eyes to trace the light code, and then I'll talk a little bit about what we're wanting to do with our focus. So we want to focus in a very short sentence. Something that is perhaps I am ... or I have ... or I am able to ... So if you look at your options that you have, all your things that you want to work with, what you want to bring in, what you want to release, what you want to heal, what you want to let go of, imagine how your life would be if you didn't have any of those things that was troubling you and you had all the things that you were trying to manifest. How would life be different to what life is like now? What would you be able to do that you can't do right now? Those two questions should give you some clues. So if you say, for example, my life would be lighter, then you can say, I feel light or I am light. If you feel that you'll be more expanded or whatever, or more safe, then you can say, I am safe. So pause the recording here as if you need more time, but we really want a short little easy sentence that you'll be able to repeat in a quick and easy way without having to look back at your notes. If your sentence is like 15 words long or something, you may have to refer to a piece of paper, and that's going to mess things up a little bit, but we'll chat about that soon. So how was that for a tune in? That was quite a tune in. Okay. Anyway, I was very, very adamant that you guys need to have a very short, succinct goal, because I've gone through this movie before where people go like, no, I've got my goal. It's like 2 paragraphs long and I love it and it's perfect. And then we get to this particular correction and the people go like, what? How am I going to do this? Okay. So there's lots coming up soon. Okay. So as I mentioned, we are doing a Kinesiopractic session. So you have your goal in place, which is that I am, or I have, or I feel, or I can, or whatever your sentence is, as long as it's present tense, in the present, in the now, and it's positive. So like, let's say, for example, you want to quit smoking, you're not going to say, I don't smoke, or I don't want to smoke, because the don't or don't want to is going to just translate to something positive, which is going to say I smoke. Basically, that's how the universe is going to see it. So find a way that you can put this in a very, very positive way. So I only inhale fresh air, or something like that. Or I love breathing fresh air. I like taking deep breaths. Find whatever it is that works for you. Okay. So you have your goal. The emotion that we have sitting on top of that specific goal for today is spaced out, and it's in relation to personal power. Spaced out in relation to personal power. Take a moment to just write down or to take a note of what that means for you, what it could potentially mean. What does it mean to be spaced out in relation to personal power, in relation to your goal for today? This has something to do with beliefs. So it may not necessarily be something about the truth. It's something that you believe about your goal, the emotion of spaced out that sits on top of that, and personal power. Pause the recording if you need more time here. Then I want you to focus on your goal again. Just say your little goal sentence to yourself and feel into that. How much stress do you have around that? 0 to 10. 0 means you've got no stress, absolutely nothing. And 10 means, oh my God, if I just hear the sentence, I'm going to die. That's how bad it is. We're looking for a relatively high stress. So if you say that sentence and you go like, oh no, that's not a problem, then that's not the right goal for today. Then go dig a little bit deeper and find the goal that is something that you want to achieve. But when you say the sentence, it goes like, ooh, it's like definitely not feeling that in my body right now. Oh, I want it, but no, my body doesn't feel it. That's what we're looking for. That's where your little nugget of gold lies. Then take a note of what your stress level is. Just put a 0 to 10, whatever that number is. Then, if you think about your goal, what is your life energy that you have to give towards that? So, 0 to 10 as well. 0, you've got nothing to give. 10, you've got lots to give. This is about how much energy you have to give, not how much energy you want to give. We all want to give 10, but we can't give 10 because we don't feel. We have 10. So, what is that value that you can give? That technically should be a relatively low number. By the end of the session, we want to be able to look at this sentence that we have, this goal, and you want to feel that the stress levels have gone down and your life energy has gone up. But don't worry about that now. Just for now, we want those two values so we can compare them. Next, what came up is a sabotage. The sabotage is what sits in the way of you achieving your goal. So our sabotage is I don't have to justify myself, or I do have to justify myself. I don't have to justify myself. I do have to justify myself. What does that mean for you? The emotion that sits on top of that is scheming, and it's in relation to networking. What does that one mean for you? Scheming in relation to networking. How does a scheming in relation to networking sits on top of I don't have to justify myself, I do have to justify myself? And how does I do or don't have to justify myself fit in relation to your goal? How does I have to justify myself keep you from getting to where you want to be? Okay, let's get our archetypes online. So we're looking for a negative archetype, something that is an archetypal energy that you are holding on to that we want to change into a positive archetype. So the negative archetype that we have is the wounded child. So the wounded child blames all of the dysfunctional relationships on childhood wounds. This is about resisting moving forward or moving through into forgiveness. So not wanting to step into forgiveness for whatever reason. And then blaming everything on all the dysfunctional relationships. You're blaming on all your childhood wounds. Oh yeah, as a child, this happened to me. This happened to me as a child. Boo, 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 hoo, moo, poor me. That's the sort of it's a very victim related energy that we have where we, instead of facing what we have here and saying, okay, right, this is what I'm facing. Let's do it. Let's pack this. Let's take this on. Let's fix this. Go back into the child like, oh, poor me. This always happened to me as a child. We want to clear that. These things are coming to the surface so that they can be cleared. It's not about us pointing a finger or anything like that. Sometimes we've got to be a little bit tough love. We've got to go like, let's get this going. The balancing archetype that we want to have instead of the wounded child is the puer or the puer. This is the puer or puer eternis, which is the eternal boy or the eternal girl or the eternal child. And this is where we have determination to remain young in the body and in spirit. And it's about seeing everything with fresh eyes, being curious, being able to ask questions, being able to play, being able to have fun. So it's actually interesting here because out of 74 archetypes that I have on my list, these two came up as the negative and the positive. So stepping out of the old wounds, stepping away from all of the things that's holding us from forgiveness, and stepping into the eternal young boy and girl where you are curious and you want to see everything with fresh eyes. Okay, so let's dive in. Now, with our corrections, these corrections I've dived to see everything that needs to happen. There's lots of backstories and stuff to these corrections. Usually if it's one-on-one session with the client, we discuss this, we get it all mixed in. But here we are going to focus mainly on the correction itself. And I'm going to give you some prompts and some questions. And I want you to answer those questions on your sheet of paper or your journal or whatever you have with you, because that's going to help you to get deeper into that correction. Our first correction that comes up is a 5-element 1-point balance. This is a general balance where we're wanting to check the elemental energies within the system and in the structure, how they're flowing. And then we do one correction to fix the balance. So in this particular one, we're taking the wobble of the energy within your field and we're wanting to stabilize that before we get into the other corrections. The emotion that comes up in this correction is invite, and it's in relation to chakra liberation, which is quite a big one here. So this is about inviting in chakra liberation. What does that mean for you? And how does that relate to your goal that you have? If we're looking at liberation, this is to set something free from imprisonment. We want to release any oppression. So we want to really open things up. We want to release any slavery or whatever. So how is your chakras perhaps locked or blocked or enslaved? And what we're wanting to do is we want to invite into this the liberation for the chakras. So if you can get the chakras to be nice and open, it actually fits in really beautifully with the correction of the 1-point balance, where we wanted to get your energy in a harmonious, balanced way and way to flow. Okay, so here is your questions that you're going to be thinking about while you're doing the correction. Or I would suggest maybe write these down and then make some notes around those and then do the correction once you've got some clarity, just what you've got there. Question 1. How can you change your viewpoint? How can you change your viewpoint or point of view? How can you change your point of view? How can you change your viewpoint? This would be in relation to getting balance in relation to your main goal. Next question. What negative reaction do you expect? And how can you deflect it? What negative reaction do you expect? And how can you deflect it? So when we talk about negative reaction over here, this is negative reaction in relation to you getting back into balance. When you get into balance and you're moving towards your goal, what is the negative reaction that you expect from the world around you, your family, your friends, blah, 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 whatever those things may be? What is it that you expect and how can you deflect it? And the third question, where does fear hold you back? Where does fear hold you back? What dragons can you slay? So this is basically the same thing. So what is the fears and how can we kill those fears? How can we release those fears? So make a note of that. And interestingly enough, the correction that we have, the 1-point balance, we're working with the kidney meridian, and the kidney meridian is about fears. So this question actually ties in with that. So make a note of what these questions mean to you. And then we're going to do the correction. So let's quickly switch over to here. That is our point that we're working with. And you can do this on both sides, on both feet. It is just on the back of the malleolus. So the malleolus is the ankle bone. It's just on the inside of the foot, so it's in line with the big toe. If you find the heel bone, and then you're just going to go just a little bit down from that, there should be a sensitive spot. Now you can do one of these feet, you can do one at a time, or you can do both at the same time. It's a relatively easy point to find. If you find the point and you press in, you are going to get a little bit of a nerve pain almost. Then you know that you are on that that red line that is just behind it. Then just go up and in a little bit. If you press in, it should be a sensitive spot, but not feel like a nerve pain. These points are also quite forgiving, so if you get them a little bit wrong, they'll still work. So what you want to do is maybe use your thumb, or you can use your fingers, dig into that point, and you want to massage this in quite a firm way. So massage this. We're going to massage for about 30 seconds and focus on invite, chakra liberation, and how can you change your viewpoint? What negative reactions do you expect? How can you deflect it? Where does fear hold you back? Now, if you've done both sides, then that is all good. Otherwise, if you have only done one side, then you switch sides now and start rubbing that same point. And you think about invite chakra liberation and how can you change your viewpoint? What negative reaction do you expect? How can you deflect it? Where does fear hold you back? And what dragons can you slay? Okay, so that is it. Correction done. Done, dusted. Very easy. Okay, so we're moving on to our next correction. Now, the next correction is set in the past, and the year is 2009. So, what's that happening on math level? 24 minus. I suck at math. That's 15 years ago. Okay, so what happened 15 years ago? Where were you? How old were you? 2009. What was happening in your life? Can you remember? Normally, what will happen is you may get a flash or an idea of where you were, what was happening in your life. And we're looking at your goal in relation to somewhere 2009, something that happened in 2009 that maybe wobbled you away in a similar way to that goal. Okay, don't worry too much about that, but make a note, just a quick note of anything that comes to mind, 2009, that may potentially have pushed you a little bit into a specific fear or whatever that kept you away. Now, here we have tears in relation to health. That is the emotion that we have, tears in relation to health. And this is an attitude reversal correction over here. So this is the one where we have that very long sentence that you're going to have to work with. I think I may have to put it on screen as well. I'll put that on afterwards. But we're looking at something that you want, but subconsciously you can't achieve it or whatever. There's normally some hidden agenda. So we call it a reversal in attitude. Like it's something you want to achieve, but you can't get it. So we're looking here at 2009, something to do with your health, tears as the emotion. I know, like if I think 2009 for me and tears health, I have a very clear image of something that happened around that time. So I've got mine locked in, so I can work with that. So yeah, and now for the instructions. This is where there's lots to do. Now, first of all, we've got our correction point. The correction point is on the gallbladder meridian. The gallbladder is about anger. And the gallbladder meridian point we're going to be working with is sorry, got myself tangled up in here. It's on the corners of the eyes. So I will most likely take my glasses off when I do that. It's just in the on here, corner of the eye, not in the eyeball, but on the orbital ridge. Sorry, my brain. So just out there where you're going to be tapping. We tap with index finger and middle finger. While you are tapping, we are going to do eye rotations with eyes open and eyes closed, which means with eye rotations, the easiest way to do that is to imagine a very big box in front of you. You look in the middle, corner, middle, corner, middle, corner, middle, corner, middle, and then reverse that again. We're going to do that eyes open and eyes closed. Okay, so that's the other thing. So we're going to be tapping. We're going to do eye rotations, eyes open and eyes closed. So it's one direction, eyes closed, one direction, one direction. And while you're doing that, you are going to say, in spite of this reversal in attitude about, oh wait, I still haven't given you what your reversal is. Your reversal that we have, sorry, let's quickly do that. The reversal that we have here is I can be noticed. And the reversal of that is I cannot be noticed. I cannot be noticed. So just check with yourself, what does that mean? I cannot be noticed in relation to tears and health, in relation to your goal. How does all of that make sense? Okay, so let's quickly go back. So we're going to be doing tapping. We're going to do eye rotations, eyes open and closed. And we're going to say, in spite of this reversal in attitude about me not being noticed in relation to whatever your goal was, I am healthy and safe. I deeply and profoundly love, accept, appreciate, and respect myself. In spite of this reversal in attitude about me not being noticed in relation to whatever your goal is, let's say I am healthy and safe, I deeply and profoundly love, accept, appreciate, and respect myself. And you're going to go repeat that sentence over and over and over again until you've done your eye rotations in both directions, eyes open and eyes closed. And then we're going to switch over to take the ring finger and the thumb together. Index finger and middle finger is going to tap behind the ears on the mastoid process, on that round bone. And we're doing eye rotations again, eyes open and eyes closed in both directions. And then you're going to repeat, I can be noticed, I can be noticed, I can be noticed, I can be noticed, I can be noticed. Okay, are you ready? Let's do this. Oh, okay. I'm going to take glasses off. Can be noticed and your goal. I will just say goal when we get there. So tapping next to the corners of the eyes and eye rotations. Okay, here goes. In spite of this reversal in attitude about me not being noticed in relation to goal, I deeply and profoundly love, accept, appreciate, and respect myself. In spite of this reversal in attitude about me being noticed in relation to goal, I deeply and profoundly love, accept, appreciate, and respect myself. Now you're going to switch over to ring finger and thumb, and index finger, middle finger tap behind the ears. And I can be noticed. I think it is I can be noticed. Yes, I can be noticed. Eyes open and closed. I can be noticed. 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 All done. Right. Next correction. Okay. So the next correction, now we're out of the past and we're coming into the future. We are looking 4 days into the future. So 4 days from now into the future is something that your subconscious is anticipating a bit of a stress that may potentially knock you off course. And it's wanting to get us back into our sort of balance as well. Right. So um, we have here the correction is centering. So centering is about getting back into alignment. So what happens if life knocks you down? You want to be able to get back into your centering. So it gives us flexibility to move, and it keeps us coming back to the center as we go. This is about us handling things in a smooth way so that things like anxiety or panic or whatever gets out of the way. Fear of change and all of those things gets out of the way so that we can move ahead with life. This particular correction has 3 different modes that can be done. And the one that came up for us is the hyoid, which is a nice one that you can use. It's small enough and easy enough that you can do this at any time. So whenever you feel yourself being a little bit knocked out of balance, then you can do this particular correction. There are some questions that you can consider for this one while you are doing the correction itself. And this is what's positive about your issue or your problem. So the current issue or problem that you're dealing with, what is positive about that? What's some of the good things about it? Just make a note of that. And then one more question is, when did you feel this way before? So this issue that you have or the thing that you're working through, when did you feel this way before? And how are things different or the same when you compare those times to this time? And there's an emotion that we can add to this particular correction. And this is dichotomy, and it's in relation to spiritual leaders. Dichotomy in relation to spiritual leaders. So dichotomy is like a division or a contrast between things. It's opposites or opposed energies, very, very different from each other. And spiritual leaders. How does that fit in with 4 days in the future? So 4 days from now, for whenever you're watching this, and getting you off center. What does that mean for you? Okay, let's look at the correction here. Very, very easy correction, as I mentioned. So normally what we do is we check everything, but I've done the checks already. So you just have to do the correction itself. The hyoid is this little floating bone. It's like if you go here on your throat, there's a sort of where the Adam's apple would be. That would be where the floating bone would be. If you can't find it for yourself, it's okay. Just find any little spot here in the throat. And what we want to do is we want to do the compass points. So north, south, east, west, and then also the diagonals. And you literally just, you can take your thumbs and just go up, down like this from the center. Oh, wait, I can't see what I'm doing. You can take fingers like this. Up to the sides, at a diagonal, at a diagonal. So you can just go randomly in different directions with that. But you want to go out from the center. Okay, so side, 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 up, angle, angle. That's it. Easy peasy. And what we're doing is there's a light stretch that happens on the skin that we are just opening things up. And so that translates into the fascia, translates into the ligaments and tendons. And that floating bone is literally floating. It's being held by tendons and ligaments in place, and the fascia. And so by doing that small movement, doesn't have to be very deep, we are fixing that in a quite an easy way. And that is it, correction done. So now some more eye rotations, because this is for willingness to benefit, be responsible, and accept the changes. And we've got the emotional level as well as the mental level. So we're going to do some eye rotations again, and you're going to do ring finger and thumb together. And we only do these with eyes open. The emotion that we're working with here is deserted. So you're going to say, I feel deserted. Don't have to analyze it. Don't have to think about it. Just say, I feel deserted. We're tapping behind the ears. I feel deserted, 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 I feel deserted. Next one is uncared for. I feel uncared for, 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 I feel uncared for. All done. That is it. Let it go. Now, let's call up your goal, your sentence that we had initially. Just say your goal again. Feel into that. What is your stress levels now around your goal? 0 to 10. Just give yourself a number there. What is your life energy towards your goal? What is the energy that you can give towards it? Not what you want to give, what can you give? 0 to 10. And then you can compare. Is your stress lower? Is your life energy higher? Then we had the sabotage of I don't have to justify myself, or I do have to justify myself. Don't have to do anything about that. I'm testing that, and it's all hunky dory over there. So I've got the pendulum going. And then we had the emotion of scheming in relation to networking. And then we had the emotion spaced out in relation to personal power. And then, of course, you had your goal. And then a kinesiopractic session would not be complete without some homework or support. So your homework or support for today or for this week is one of two things. You can do both, or you can do one, or to see how it works for you. The one is community involvement. Community involvement. So how can you be involved in your community? And the other one is art therapy. Art therapy. So using art as a form of therapy for you. Okay. So that is it. That is our correction and our balance for this week. See how that relates. I hope you made some notes around this. This can be a really, really deep session, even though the corrections are very simple. Some of them. So even though the corrections are very simple, the deep work that happens or takes place is really when you analyze and feel into what are those emotions and stories that are stuck behind all of that. So I'm sending you lots of love and light, and I'm seeing you in our next session. Take care. Have a beautiful, beautiful week ahead.